I raise awareness for 4 people in my family who passed away from pancreatic cancer. It was my mother and my dad, my sister-in-law, and my husband. But those 4 people were also genetically unrelated to each other, but 3 of them are genetically related to my children and to my grandson. I'm a new grandmother. And what I want to do is make if they have the unfortunate circumstances of getting pancreatic cancer, I want to make it where there's more hope for them, more treatment for them. My mom was diagnosed in 1978, and she had, I think, about 3 months between the time she was diagnosed and when she passed away. They only were able to find it when they did exploratory surgery, and they closed her right up again. And I remember the surgeon coming into the room and telling my dad and I that there was no hope and that she was going to pass very soon, which she did. It was a very devastating moment for our family. She was only 57 years old when that happened. For my dad, it was 11 years later, and he was sick for a year, and no one really knew what was happening. And then he, too, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It floored the whole family that, this happened to both of my parents. And it was only a month between the time where he was diagnosed and he passed away suddenly in the hospital. He was hospitalized for it. Jumping to my sister-in-law, again, she was sick for about a year. No one knew what it was. She was diagnosed. She got a little bit of treatment, but she was gone in about 3 months, and that was 2012. My husband, a little bit different story. He was diagnosed, I think it was January of 2004, and he survived for 24 months. He had successful chemotherapy treatment. He had surgery. He had an okay life for most of those months, but ultimately, the disease did get him too. So, okay. I hate pancreatic cancer enough that after my husband passed away from it, particularly, he was 49 years old, and we had 2 kids that he left, and that myself and 8 other people founded the first Purple Stride, Washington, D.C. And our core group of 8 volunteers ran it for many years, and then we eventually got out of it. But now I think just had its the 9th Purple Stride. And I think at this point that Purple Stride has raised $5.6 million, which is very exciting. So, that's something that we can all be very proud of. But what I did and what a lot of other people did, they just channeled their energy and their grief really into doing something proactive. And working on Purple Stride for me was a great way to be proactive and to do something positive towards getting rid of this disease. Between the time when my mom got it in 1978 and when my husband got it in 2004, what I was very shocked by was that there had been very little change in the diagnosis. When I was sitting with my husband hearing this terrible diagnosis, it was like it was back in 1978. Very little treatment, something like only 20% of the people were helped by the only chemotherapy at that time. And we came out of that really shell-shocked. Since then, there has been some progress, not enough, but there are now many more treatments that are available. There's more survivors. It's gone from 6% to 9%. So yeah, there is progress being made, but it's not fast enough. 9% of pancreatic cancer patients survive. That is a terrible number, and we have to get a lot higher than that.